To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there has never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory, may God watch over his family, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. To my great fellow Americans,
Today, I have awoken with a fire in my heart that will not be extinguished until the country is saved. If I learned anything yesterday, it's this. Evil is real. People will kill me for having opinions, and I need to prepare for whatever is to come. Charlie devoted his life to civil debate and conversation. It's people like Charlie that made me who I am today. No one will ever fill his shoes. No one will ever be able to do what he has done for my generation. I refuse to let his death be in vain. I am doubling my efforts in this fight. If you weren't doing so already, now is the time to make a change in your life. Let today be the day that you better yourself. so that something good may come of this. Our enemies want us weak and afraid. We must build ourselves up and be the best that we can be. Let them show their colors. We are winning the hearts and minds of people. That's why they killed Charlie Kirk. It's because they're afraid of what we are winning without resorting to violence like they have. Do not give in. Keep having the conversations. If not for yourself, then for Charlie. Thank you guys for sitting through that opening. I didn't know a better way to start the show today. I feel as though that is the best possible way to start the day. Donald Trump had an excellent, speech, whatever you want to call it. That was a nice little video in honor of Charlie Kirk. I don't think he could have done it better. I woke up this morning and that tweet is exactly how I felt. And I mean every word of it. Do not let his death be in vain. Use this as the catalyst for making yourself better than you ever were. Use his death as the catalyst for making this country great. Charlie advocated for civil conversation and discussion, and that's what we should do in his honor. He would not want violence. He would not want a civil war started in his name. I'm going to open today with this from the Associated Press. I thought this was a nice little article by them. How Charlie Kirk shaped a generation of young people into a conservative force. Charlie Kirk began plotting a way to mold young minds into conservatism at an age when he was still sorting out his own path. Looking to channel his political inclinations into an action after rejection from West Point, Kirk was 18 when he launched a grassroots organization from an Illinois garage that would grow alongside the rise of President Donald Trump and fuel the Make America Great Again movement. Kirk admitted later that he had no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing. When he started Turning Point USA in 2012, but his rhetorical gifts for countering progressive ideas by leaning into cultural tensions and making provocative declarations instantly resonated with college audiences during the Obama years. As video clips of his early campus appearances spread online, it helped him secure a steady stream of donations that transformed Turning Point into one of the country's largest political organizations, attracting young people to star-studded gatherings and making it a presence at high schools and colleges around the country. Quote, "No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie," Trump said on Wednesday after Kirk was assassinated while speaking at a college in Utah. In the early stages, Kirk described his group as a student organization that advocated for free markets and limited government. He needled peers who bashed capitalism and backed presidential candidate and Democratic socialist Bernie Sanders, yet shamelessly enjoyed the fruits of the free market like Starbucks, Amazon, and Netflix. Over time, Turning Point began holding mass rallies that drew tens of thousands of young voters each year to hear top conservative leaders, Trump included, speaking on glitzy stages with massive screens, pyrotechnics, and lighting shows befitting a stadium concert. Alongside Turning Point's growth, Kirk's fame skyrocketed as he leveraged his nonprofit, celebrity status, and successful podcast into considerable personal wealth. It is not immediately clear who will lead Turning Point after Kirk's death. Quote, "You don't replace Charlie Kirk," Trump told reporters on Thursday. He was unique. No one will replace Charlie Kirk. I don't know who will take up the mantle of leader at Turning Point USA, but those are shoes that they will not be able to fill. Turning Point spreads conservative ideas across college campuses. Kirk's bread and butter remained anchored on college campuses. His final appearance Wednesday at Utah Valley University was the opening event of his latest series titled The American Comeback Tour. In his college stops, Kirk would often sit beneath a tent, and he was when he was shot. He was often behind his Prove Me Wrong table where he held forth. He mainly drew young conservatives, many sporting Make America Great Again hats, who said they often felt unwelcome or out of place at school. And he had hundreds of Turning Point employees and volunteers there to recruit students and into becoming GOP voters and activists themselves. The real draw, however, was Kirk arguing with students. He seemed to relish cheers when he had less friendly audience. Kirk frequently repeated Trump's, well, we're going to ignore that one. He called, that's all true, though. He espoused culturally conservative views, advocating for gun rights, condemning abortion, holding up women as wives and mothers, and men as heads of households, and he mastered the art of what about retort, turning questions back on progressives and liberals who challenged him. So basically, just the beginning of that is good. And then, as you can see, the media likes to fill their biases in here. Overall, the beginning was good, and then it gets bad. But that's a lot of the news today. And there's a lot of people that are getting fired over it, and I hope to see more of it. I mean, there were some people fired from TMZ, I believe. Some people fired from MSNBC. I think someone got fired at the NFL too. A lot of people getting fired. And yeah, Associated Press, I don't know why they decided to get biased about halfway through, but it is what it is, I guess. Oh, what are you guys saying in the chat? Let me move to the chat. I have another story I'm gonna bring up. We're gonna give updates as to what's going on with Charlie Kirk. I just wanted to open with that. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Thank you, Joey, for raiding. So I'm not the only one who is full of rage and anger. No, I would say most people are. It's just people are channeling it in different ways. No, you're not. But we cannot resort to violence. No, we cannot. We cannot resort to violence over this. That would be giving the left exactly what they want. One of the good things that I have seen coming from this is the amount of non-political people that are coming to me and saying, what the hell is wrong with the left? And you should be happy about that. You guys in the chat, you guys that come here and like to listen to the show and stuff, you guys should be happy to know that. Thank you guys for that. I guess I'll have to up that like goal. There's a lot of you guys here today. But you guys should know that we are winning. We are winning, and this is proof of it. They couldn't debate Charlie. They couldn't win the hearts and minds of people like he has. So they had to kill him. That's how they had to win that. That was their last option. If they could prove Charlie Kirk wrong, they would have been on the other side of that microphone yesterday, not on the other side of a scope. Yesterday just proves that we are winning. We're winning the hearts of minds of people. And as the left rejoices and celebrates this death, we will only win more. The amount of hate is incredible. We have to stay more sensible than them. Absolutely, Boosh. Level heads. We have to remain level-headed. A lot of us were emotional yesterday. A lot of us may have said things that we now regret today. But just know that if we get violent, all of that goodwill that has now gone in our favor will be turned against us. If we get violent now, the story won't be Charlie Kirk. The story will be whatever happens next. We can't allow that. We can't allow our side to get violent and change the story. The story is a political commentator who was having peaceful debate with people that disagree with him was shot and killed during that debate. That is something that should never happen in the United States, let alone the rest of the world. No one should ever be killed for their thoughts and opinions, no matter how atrocious they may be. They don't advocate for the death of other people. You shouldn't advocate for the death of them. But for some reason, that's lost on people. Don't give the narcissists what they want. Don't give the left what they want. They want us to get violent. They want us to have retaliation. That's why they're saying it. They're not saying anything about his family, who's now gonna have to go on without a father. They're not talking about how all Charlie Kirk did was have conversations with people he disagreed with. What they're talking about is how this might come against them now. The people on the left are rejoicing in this death. At the same time, they're in fear that that death may come for them. And they shouldn't be in fear. They shouldn't be in fear that death is going to come for them. But neither should the Republicans. No side should be in fear of death for sharing their opinions. If we have a disagreement, you talk that out. You convince the other person. If you can't convince the other person, then maybe you need a better argument. If you're incapable of proving someone wrong, maybe you need to take a step back and look in the mirror and figure out where your argument has gone wrong. But they don't do that. And they rather just take it to the physical world. They have lost on the battlefield of the mind, and now the only way for them to win is through the physical battlefield. And we cannot allow that. If this goes physical, if we actually enter a civil war, they have a chance. I know a lot of people on the right don't want to hear it, but they are Americans just like the rest of us. They're just as intelligent as the rest of us. Just because they have different ideas and opinions doesn't mean they are any less intelligent. They have access to weapons. They have access to all sorts of different things that we would have access to as well. A civil war wouldn't be good for anyone. And I don't even know if the right would win. I know what we would win, and that's in debate. We are winning in the field of debate. If this goes kinetic, if this goes hot, they have a chance at winning. And that's what they want. They know they've lost. They know they're not winning. And they know the only way to win at this point is by getting us to start a war. We have to refuse. We have to refuse. We have to go after every single person calling for violence. I'm okay with these people losing their jobs if they celebrate this. Target them non-violently. There are so many different ways to expose these people to the absolute scumbags they are without turning violent. Just saw an Instagram story from someone I went to high school with who I would say was about as political asleep as anyone could be, and they are like, what the fuck is going on? Why are we celebrating murder? That's the sentiment I'm getting from everyone. I'm probably the most politically active person in my family, and I've been looking at social media and stuff. I'm trying to avoid a lot of it because of, scumbags and stuff like that, but many people that are not typically politically active are seeing this. And as shitty as it is, I wish it was under better circumstances, but they're waking up. They're waking up to the political violence. They're waking up to the rhetoric of the left. And like I've been saying, we cannot let his death be in vain. We need to find the good in this situation. And we need to continue on with civil debate, because that's what Charlie would have wanted. I'm going to move on to the updates. I feel like this is the normie sentiment, and the radical left Marxist sentiment is to celebrate. I don't know if normies are going to step that line. Yeah, I agree, Joey. I don't think normies... I don't think the Overton window has been pushed enough to where normies would just accept the death of someone for sharing their opinions. I'm on the war front of letting the company know that an employee is celebrating the death. Yeah, no, I support that, Clint. Absolutely. I had nightmares that were less brutal than this. I left the left in 2019 because the progressives were already jerks. And Joey and I talk about this constantly. I try to be neutral when it comes to these political things, but it is so incredibly hard to remain neutral when you have people on one side of the aisle saying that this was justified and the other side saying it was just a civil debate he was having when he was shot. It's really fucking hard to remain neutral when one side will advocate for the death of someone sharing their opinions. Let's move on to the updates. We have this from the Gateway Pundit. Alleged leaked ATF document claims that weapon near Charlie Kirk's assassination site had cartridges engraved with transgender and Antifa phrases and symbols. Louder with Crowder broke this news this morning. Please go follow Louder with Crowder if you're not already. Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder. Go follow them on X. Go follow them on Rumble. They are constantly getting us insider info on all these different things the government doesn't want us to know about. An allegedly leaked document from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, claims that the weapon found near the site of Charlie Kirk's assassination was equipped with cartridges engraved with symbols and phrases tied to transgender and Antifa ideology. As the manhunt for the shooter enters its second day, the leaked ATF document suggests a possible identical motive behind the killing. Ideological, sorry. The FBI confirmed during a press conference on Thursday that the weapon was found in a wooded area near the campus. Conservative political commentator Steven Crowder obtained the document and posted it to X on Thursday morning before the press conference. The document, which Crowder claims to have obtained from a credible source, describes the cartridges as bearing etched symbols including the transgender flag colors and phrases such as trans rights are human rights, hinting at a premeditated act driven by radical beliefs. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Antifa, and trans rights. Everyone knows that these are easily countered ideologies. They cannot win in an actual debate. That's why you don't see them at debates. They can't debate. There's nothing to debate. They're wrong. They're just wrong, and they know it. Or maybe they don't because they live in a delusion. But because they can't argue their delusion is actually reality, they have to make your death a reality. Because they can't argue with you. So this is the transcript of what Steven Crowder shared here. Quote, on September 10th, 2025, at approximately 12:24 p.m., conservative political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Mr. Kirk was speaking at the university as part of the American Comeback Tour. Multiple SLCI and 1 in 3 agents responded immediately. Sorry, the wording on that was weird. Responded immediately. The suspect fired one shot from an elevated position on a rooftop in an adjacent building on the campus, and surveillance video shows the suspect jumping off and fleeing the area on foot. ATF and other law enforcement located the older model imported Mauser 30-06 caliber bolt action rifle wrapped in a towel in a wooded area near the campus. The location of the firearm appears to match the suspect's route of travel. The spent cartridge was still chambered in addition to 3 unspent rounds at the top-fed magazine. All cartridges have been engraved wording on them expressing transgender and anti-fascist ideology. An emergency trace has been submitted, and an ATF SLC is working leads generated by the trace. The firearm and ammunition have been taken by the FBI for DNA analysis and fingerprint impressions. Upon completion of forensics, the firearm will be disassembled for additional importer information. Multiple people of interest have contacted or detained because of eyewitness testimony and review of the footage. The primary suspect is yet to be identified. ATF is assisting the investigation with multiple other federal, state, and local partners at the case co-led by the FBI in Utah. What I have to say to this is, as with many tragedies like this, there is so much misinformation going around. Please, please, please don't go around sharing things that you can't fucking confirm. Doesn't help anybody. If anything, it distracts people. Right now, the FBI is looking for a very specific person, and if you're still sharing AI-generated stuff or old photos that you're not corroborating, you're just making people go in the wrong direction and not helping shit. Stop spreading misinformation. If you can't confirm what you're sharing, don't fucking share it. Should be that simple. Sorry, our sergeant, that's a 30-06. The 30-06 bolt-action rifle is what Charlie Kirk was assassinated with. Crowder was the first person to obtain the leaked manifesto written by Nashville Covenant school shooter Aiden Hales. or Aiden Hale, which, again, that was one of the big stories that Crowder recently broke. That's another reason to go and support this guy. He's the reason we got the manifesto of the Nashville shooter. And now he's the reason we got this from the ATF, because they weren't going to release this yet. And now they have to acknowledge it. Wednesday, Kirk, 31, was fatally shot in the neck from approximately 200 yards away in broad daylight while speaking at a Utah university in Orem. An attack Governor Spencer Coates labeled as a political assassination, because that's what it was. The discovery of the engraved cartridges, if confirmed, could fuel speculation about the shooter's identity and motives, especially as left-wing extremists on social media platforms like Blue Sky and Reddit have celebrated Kirk's death with disturbing comments, including claims that he deserved the attack. And I'm sure all of you know in the chat that this has been something that has been running rampant the past 24 hours. The absolute demonic, evil pieces of shit celebrating this guy's death. I have to say, guys, I don't really care what political commentator it was that died yesterday. It could have been freaking like Hassan Piker. I still would have been the same emotionally. The fact that someone could be killed in this country for expressing their opinions in a civil debate is fucking disgusting. And it further disgusts me even to know that there are people that are okay with this. I'm not okay with anyone losing their life over civil conversation. They should always be defeated in debate, not at the end of a barrel. The shooter remained on the loose as of Thursday morning. No suspect has been publicly named. 2 persons of interest were taken into custody and have since been released. The FBI is actively seeking photos and videos from the event, as well as any possible leads about the shooter. It doesn't look like they've shared any photos here. But, yeah. This is the update that we have right now. There's so much news revolving around this. I do want to mention the absolutely disgusting behavior from our members of Congress yesterday. I should actually play that video. Let me find that video for you guys. This was absolutely fucking disgusting. Actually, no, disgusting is not a strong enough word. Demonic. So, Speaker Mike Johnson wanted to hold a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk on the Senate floor. And Democrats wouldn't even allow that. Democrats wouldn't even allow a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. They screamed at the top of their lungs. Less than 5 seconds of the moment of silence beginning. Disgusting. Utterly disgusting and demonic.
The chair would ask that all...
Disgusting and demonic. This is from Kyle. Just in, during a moment of silence in the U.S. House for Charlie Kirk's passing, Democrats erupt in outrage. There are no words for this kind of despicable behavior.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
The volume's quiet, but you can't quite hear them. They start interrupting around here. And they're trying to ignore them. Nope, here they are. Look, they're not. So they get through the prayer. Speaker Johnson had to repeatedly call for order during the moment of silence. You can't hear them on the audio because they're not talking in the mic. Their mics are cut. You can see everyone looking back at them like, oh, someone's screaming. They're saying shush, shush.
Let's, wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh.
It's hard to hear them because their mics
The
are cut.
House will be in order. We,
Oh, what the hell?
the House will be in order. We will join prayer right after this, okay? The chair lays before the House a communication.
You can kind of hear through his mic. They're screaming so loud.
The House will be in order.
He's getting pissed. Now you can hear him through... They're screaming so loud, you can hear him through the speaker's mic, who's the only mic that's on.
Thank you all. The House.
Disgusting. It's utterly... You can't even hold a moment of silence. You can't even pretend for 2 fucking seconds that you actually gave a shit about this guy. A guy who lost his life having civil debate. Can't even pretend to care about that for 2 fucking seconds. It's disgusting. In other news related to Charlie Kirk, South Park has pulled their episode of Cartman, playing Charlie Kirk, essentially. Comedy Central pulls Charlie Kirk South Park episode after assassination. The decision to pull the episode came as there were a number of social media posts online accusing the network of contributed to the hatred and anger against Kirk. I disagree with this decision. Charlie Kirk himself even enjoyed the episode, and I don't think this incited violence. I genuinely don't think this episode incited violence. It was a good episode. Charlie Kirk liked it. JD Vance liked the episode. They shouldn't have pulled this episode. If anything, it makes them look more guilty by pulling the episode. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon making fun of so many different people. If someone went and hurt Caitlyn Jenner, would they remove all the episodes making fun of her? I mean, they have episodes of Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, whatever his name is, running over people in the South. Like, when they make fun of Charlie Kirk in this episode, literally, he doesn't say anything wrong. He's saying nothing but facts and then just destroying people in debates, which is what he does. That's literally what he does. There was nothing wrong with the episode. Like, this is not a precedent that we should have set, especially when Charlie Kirk said he was okay with the episode. Comedy Central has pulled one of their latest episodes mocking Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated on Wednesday, although Kirk took the episode in stride at the time, even posting the image satirizing him as his social media profile picture. The episode mocked the debates he engaged with on college campuses. The company owned by Paramount, Skydance, pulled a rerun of the episode called Got a Nut from a lineup for cable television on Wednesday evening. Kirk was killed earlier that day while he was speaking to college students at Utah Valley University. Comedy Central instead pushed episode 1 from season 27 of South Park to the slot, per the New York Post. So they were doing reruns, and instead of doing this episode, they just did the first episode of the season. Which, if this is the argument, right, then I guess they just need to remove the whole season because it's all making fun of Republicans, right? They just need to remove the whole season now because it's making fun of... No, it's stupid. This is stupid. This doesn't solve anything. This doesn't fix anything by removing this episode. Charlie was happy to be included in this. The decision to pull the episode came as there were a number of social media posts online accusing the network of contributing to the hatred and anger online against Kirk. One viral post from the X account read that South Park skipped 4 years of Biden just to demonize a guy who does speaking events. Charlie Kirk did nothing wrong. I don't think they demonized him in this event. I understand that people are angry. I understand that you guys want to pin the blame on someone, but South Park is not to blame for this senseless attack. South Park did not encourage this. They did not encourage Charlie Kirk to ever even be hurt. The episode was done tastefully, and even Kirk himself enjoyed it. JD Vance, Charlie Kirk embrace South Park parody of themselves. Quote, "Well, I've finally made it," quipped Vance. Vance even shared a picture of himself as this little dwarf dude that they have of him in South Park, and he was like, "Guess I finally made it." They enjoyed the episode. Vice President JD Vance was spoofed by South Park on their second episode of their 27th season this week, as was TPUSA's Charlie Kirk. Both men embraced their portrayals. "Well, I've finally made it," quipped Vance. The animators portrayed Vance as a tattoo from the 1970s show Fantasy Island, With Mar-a-Lago as the island and President Trump in the role of Ricardo Montalban's Mr. Rourke, Vance has been relentlessly memed. Well, I've finally made it. Yeah, here's the tweet from JD Vance. I finally made it. Kirk was portrayed by the character Eric Cartman, who was attempting to be like Kirk. Kirk spoke about the episode on the Charlie Kirk Show on Thursday morning. First of all, I just think it's hilarious, Kirk said. And secondly, the whole thing is like, so a campus thing I've been doing for 13 years to debate college kids now gets prominent primetime placement on Comedy Central. I think the whole thing is just awesome. Charlie Kirk thought the episode of him being included was awesome. He would want this episode to stay up. He would want this episode to stay up. The people advocating for this episode to be removed are just emotionally charged and need to rethink the decision.
So you can shut up, baby. You just hate America and you love abortions.
It's the stupidest haircut I've ever seen. First of all, I just think it's hilarious. And secondly, the whole thing is like, wait, so a campus thing I've been doing for 13 years to debate random college kids has now been so important that it gets prominent primetime placement on Comedy Central. I think the whole thing is just awesome.
I mean, I wasn't ready for that beginning clip. That was hilarious. But yeah, there's Charlie Kirk himself enjoying and laughing at himself being made fun of in South Park. He thought it was awesome. South Park has taken aim at many celebrities over the years, and as they begin their 27th season, now with a 5-year, $1.5 billion contract from Paramount, they've taken to skewering the second Trump administration. In the episode, they show the stalwart school counselor, Mr. Garrison, losing his job, accepting a position with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The portrayal of ICE on South Park was posted by the ICE social media account, leading to South Park to tell them to eat a bag of dicks. Well, yeah, because the Trump administration was upset at the first episode, and then they released the second episode making fun of ICE, and then ICE shared a picture of it, and it's like, oh wait, now we're relevant, because they were saying that they the White House administration, or the White House was saying that they were no longer relevant, but now they're sharing, then I've already talked about it, but again, the episode should remain. Absolutely, the episode should remain.
I do with my body.
Okay, that's a terrible... I'm not even going to play that. The audio on that's garbage. But yeah, I recommend, if you can find the episode somewhere and you haven't seen it yet, I do recommend you go and watch it. Charlie Kirk would have wanted you to watch it. Charlie Kirk would have said it was a good episode. Thought it was awesome. I don't think it should be removed. I don't think we should blame them for any of this. They didn't have anything to do with it. I'm going to read some of your guys' chats before I move on from Charlie Kirk. I don't want the whole episode to be about Charlie today. I titled it today that we're going to have a civil discussion about news in the world, and I do want to do that. I have other stories that we'll be talking about. We'll jump to this next story that's really important. But before I do, let's, of course, read some of your guys' chats. Let me scroll up here. Let me see what you guys have been saying. What's up, son of Wiggum? He said, good to see you, Tyler. They've always told us this is who they were. This is disgusting, but ultimately unsurprising. So did anyone else just doom scroll Insta and Twitter and get a feel and the rage and flow? I want to see the Dems that yelled no and scream. I want to see their name. I want their names and the state, everything. Yeah, I agree. I've seen a lot of people saying, I can't be liberal anymore today. Yeah, I don't blame them. That is not something you want to associate with when you see a majority of people on that side saying that this was okay. So the voters know who they are and kick them out. Yep. Nasty motherfuckers. Yep. Mainly, see how many remember 24 years ago. Yep. And guys, it has now officially been 24 years since the 9/11 attacks. And it's really interesting to compare and contrast the country today to what I imagine it was then. I was born 7 months before the September 11th attacks on the Twin Towers. I was born 7 months before it. I don't have any recollection of the world at the time, but I grew up in that. And When I look at how I was growing up today to what the country is now, we are far, far more divided than we ever were in my life. This should have been a moment of unification. This should have been a moment we come together as a country and say that no one, regardless of their politics, should ever be killed for expressing those politics. But no. Only one side is saying it's wrong. And that's on the side of good. Not even talking about conservatives or Republicans. Because there's some conservatives and Republicans that are saying evil shit too. A lot of people trying to use his death as justification for whatever they want next. Be on the side of good. Don't be on the side of evil. The evil people want to use this and turn it into their, justification for their own agenda. Evil people are celebrating this and wishing for more of it. Don't be one of them. What's you guys saying? What's up, Xbox lad? Those disgusting people who need to be removed from office. Yep. Shouldn't have pulled it. No, they should not have pulled that episode. I think they should because it is kicking a dead horse. Like, it isn't funny anyway. Make funny things. South Park should be funny, not awful. Son of Wiggum, I actually have found this new season quite hilarious. I think this newest season has been absolutely fantastic. I did criticize the first episode of the season because it was pretty lazy. But now having seen the subsequent episodes following that, I understand why they did it the way they did. They were just setting up for the other episodes. So, but no, I think you need to look at it objectively. South Park this season has been quite hilarious. And I think it's excellent that they're making fun of the Republicans. You know why? Because that means we're on top. They're making fun of us because we're on top. I'm fine with it. Especially the way they're doing it. It's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. Laughing my ass off at that last episode with Labubu's and stuff. Oh my god. I thought South Park was actually pretty good to Charlie. I don't think they really made fun of him that much. No, if anything, they made him the star of the episode and just basically they made Cartman Charlie Kirk, and then Cartman just went around spreading facts. If anything, the only thing they did to insult Charlie Kirk was have him portrayed by a fat kid. That's the only way Charlie Kirk was insulted in that episode. Yeah, it is very hard to see that. He was a good man. Salutes from Switzerland. Well, thank you. I see what you did there, Wiggum. Let's see what else. I'd be teary-eyed with pride if I was depicted the way South Park did Charlie. No, it was hilarious. I thought what they did for Charlie was amazing, and they need to reinstate that episode. They need to put that back up. Tyler, you have no idea how true that is. I wish I knew what you were referencing. I said a lot of based things, I think. I was at work on 9/11. Jesus. Wait, hang on. Can you clarify that? Every year I watch a video that's a minute-by-minute timeline of the 4 hours on 9/11 in 2001. We are on top. We know we're no longer at the bottom. Yeah, and that's why they are making fun of us. We should be happy that South Park is targeting us in the way they are, because they didn't do it to Joe Biden. There was nothing to make fun of there. He did it himself. It's much like what the Babylon Bee talks about. It's incredibly hard to make fun of things that just kind of make fun of themselves. You know what I mean? Everyone's saying, oh, they just skipped 4 years of Biden. Well, maybe it was just too easy of a target. Has anyone considered that? Maybe they didn't want to do an episode about Joe Biden because he basically made fun of himself. It's too easy. But when Joe Biden was wandering around and Kamala was cackling, there were no jokes made. Yeah, but that, if anything, that should be an honor. Because think about it. They made fun of Obama. They now have, by the way, they have 3 depictions of Trump in the South Park universe. I was rewatching South Park, and Donald Trump appears in the earlier episodes, and their depiction of him, actually very nice, and they make his character look very good looking, as compared to the other South Park characters, you know. And then the second depiction is Mr. Garrison, because they didn't even want to depict the actual president, so they just had Mr. Garrison be Trump, and that was hilarious. And then now the new depiction is just Saddam Hussein pretending to be President Trump. By the way, for those of you that are not aware, President Trump in South Park this season is not President Trump. That is not Donald Trump. That has never been Donald Trump in the South Park universe. Those of you that think it is are just falling for the trick. The president in this episode, this season, is Saddam Hussein, and he's just pretending to be Trump. He's impersonating Trump. It'll be revealed later. And all credit goes to Melted Mind for putting that thought in my head, because it's absolutely true. It makes 100% sense. But no, they have 3 depictions of Donald Trump in the South Park universe, and the latest iteration of Donald Trump is not Donald Trump. They're just doing it to fuck with people. But the point I wanted to bring up, they skipped Obama, or sorry, they skipped Joe Biden. They skipped Kamala Harris. They didn't even talk about their administration. We shouldn't be upset that they didn't complain about their administration. When other generations go back to look at older South Park episodes, that just won't be there. That just shows how culturally irrelevant Joe Biden was. Be happy that Joe Biden was so culturally irrelevant that South Park wouldn't even make fun of him. You should be happy about it. I'm convinced Jill Biden is the worst wife in modern history. Absolutely. When they made Mr. Garrison into Trump, it was very funny. Absolutely. And then when they did it the first episode, they went and bust down Mr. Garrison's door, and they're like, "Are you not running the country like some Middle Eastern tin pot dictator?" And then he's like, "No, I've just been sitting here watching TV with Chris." He's like, "No, he hasn't been back to the White House. He's been very good." And then they had episodes of like him going through withdrawals, and like he had a relapse of going to rallies. Like, dude, it's funny. You guys should be happy that they're making fun of Trump, because it just shows that we're culturally relevant. You should be happy they're making fun of Charlie Kirk. It shows that we're culturally relevant. Anyway, I think I've gone on a long enough spiel. Are we done pretending the Democrat Party isn't a violent cult? I mean, I think even liberals are done pretending that, because there's a lot of, like, we were reading comments earlier, Red Sixer. We were reading comments earlier. There's a lot of Democrats today, a lot of liberals saying that they don't want to leave the left, but they can no longer associate with them. So I think even people on the left that are more sensible are coming around to that idea. Anyway, let's get to other news. There's other things that I do need to talk about. All right, guys. So this got overshadowed by the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday, but this is also something horrific that needs to be said. Guys, this happened around the same time that Charlie Kirk was shot. So, Colorado high school shooting update. 2 teens hurt. Officials identify the shooter. 2 teens are in critical condition after another teenager, who has since died, is suspected of opening fire in a Colorado high school. According to authorities, the suspected shooter has been identified as Desmond Hawley, said Jackie Kelly, a spokesperson for the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, during a Thursday, September 11th news briefing. On Wednesday, September 10th at 12:24 p.m., while students were at lunch, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office received the first reports of the school shooting at Evergreen High School, located about 30 miles southwest of Denver, where the shooter, armed with a handgun, fired shots inside and outside of the school. The male student who opened fire died from self-inflicted injuries, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office stated in a post on X. It didn't appear that officers fired any rounds, Kelly said. Following a brief lockdown, the high school, which serves approximately 900 students, was declared safe by law enforcement. Who was the suspected shooter? The suspected shooter was identified as Desmond Hawley, a 16-year-old student who attended the high school, according to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Quote, "He was radicalized by extremist networks," Kelly said at a news briefing September 11th. Who are the victims? The identities of the victims have not been released, but they were also students at the high school. The victims and the shooter were all taken to St. Anthony Hospital in Lakewood, Colorado, according to PBS and the Denver Post. One of the victims had critical injuries, and the other had non-life-threatening injuries. Dr. Brian Blackwood, head of trauma at Common Spirit St. Anthony Hospital. So it appears, as of the information available right now, that the only person that died was the piece of shit that tried to carry this out. I just wish it wasn't self-inflicted. The suspected shooter used a handgun during the shooting and kept having to reload it, Kelly said. He would fire, reload, fire, reload, fire, reload. This went on, and as he did that, he tried to find new targets. Well, thank God he wasn't a good shot. Students sheltered in classrooms from the shooter. The shooter was kept from shooting more students after the school went into lockdown. Kelly said, while many students ran from the school's campus, students who stayed behind hunkered down in the classrooms. Quote, he came up against a roadblock on many of those classroom doors, so he couldn't get to those kids. Good. Good on you guys. I know it's terrible that this is the world that we live in nowadays, but people need to be ready and prepared for situations like this, just anywhere in public. If you need to learn anything in this past week, is learning situational awareness and being prepared for anything. Being prepared for anything. You never know when someone is going to have their cap pop, and you want to be prepared for it. You want to be prepared. You want to protect yourself and those around you. So good on all of these students for defending themselves and each other. What led to the shooting? Well, the motive for the shooting is still unknown, though the sheriff's office, as we read earlier, said that it was politically motivated and he was radicalized. So I don't know what what political denomination this guy is. I'm not going to make any assumption to that unless we get confirmation. But Kelly said the sheriff's office is still investigating the shooting. Officials are investigating the suspected shooter's motives. It is unknown whether the shooter knew the victims of the shooting, according to the Denver Post. Evergreen High School has canceled classes and will not be in session on Thursday, September 11th, nor will they be back Friday. According to a news release posted by the school, it is not known when the school will be back in session as it remains closed while the investigation continues. The school would also like to repair broken windows and lockers with bullets shot through them before it resumes classes. So I wonder if because he kept having to reload, I wonder if he was just firing random rounds into windows and stuff. Wasn't even looking for targets. It's kind of what it sounds like. But that's just speculation. The school has listed different resources and supports for those impacted by the shooting and can receive that people can receive, and will release more information on resources available soon. Lawmakers are reacting. Evergreen High School, located near Columbine High, and the shooting did occur the same day as the Charlie Kirk assassination. This is from Fox News. 3 teenagers remain in critical condition after Colorado high school shooting incident. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed agents were on scene supporting local authorities in Evergreen. Shooting at the high school in Denver suburbs has left 3 teenagers hospitalized in critical condition, including the suspected shooter, authorities said. So I guess this is an older article. I should have read this one first. But the shooter is dead. So the shooter is dead. Maybe I can get an update on this. Let me shift. Let me see if I can get an update on this. This is the Colorado school shooting. Lowell, judging from the sheriff's statement, I wonder if we have a Republican sheriff in a liberal district. Yeah, it's not impossible. This is from the Denver Post. Okay, let's use the Denver Post because they're in Colorado. Suspect dead, 2 students injured in shooting at Evergreen High School. 1 student remained in critical condition at St. Anthony Hospital in Lakewood on Wednesday evening. So that's what I was looking for, is the update on the students. So it looks like one of them must be stable and the other one is in critical. Again, if praying is your thing, I know a lot of you have been praying for the Kirk family. Add this student in your prayers. We don't have the name, but this is a student in Colorado at the Evergreen High School. So if praying is your thing, include him in your prayers, or include the student in your prayers. We don't have a gender or a identification for this person yet. The only person that has died as of now is the shooter himself. So, yep, this got overshadowed yesterday because everyone, including myself, was just overwhelmed by the news that we were getting, and it's unfortunate. I do have some non-political stories, but I'll save those towards the end. We'll do the non-political ones towards the end. Let's see. I got a lot of Fauci stories. I want to talk about this story. Let me read some of your guys' chats. Sounds like he was a loser. Yeah, most school shooters are. Fill sticker? You need the fill sticker, G-Nels? Well, we all know at once when there are updates. We'll all know at once there's updates. Yeah. I'm a security guard, and I think schools should have armed security guards. I agree. I'm fine with schools having armed security guards. Hell, have law enforcement on campus. There should be a small law enforcement office on every campus, I think, for quick responses, because there's often times where those fights get out of hand too, and those security guards, or whatever you want to call them, can't do much. So if we had law enforcement, like a small law enforcement office with like 5 to 10 people in it, they'd be able to respond fucking instantly. Everywhere. We should just have it everywhere. I would be ecstatic to find out that we did that. I have a good friend who is a high school teacher, and he is very good pistol shooter. Good. We at least had the DARE officer when I was at school, the DARE officers. Right, yeah, I had one of those as well, but that's not enough, right? We need more officers on these campuses. Holy crap. I just went to full screen. I don't want a full screen. Hello? Oh, no. How did I full screen it? How did I do that? Oh, there we go. I fixed it. Okay, all right, we're going to move on. Man, it's fucking hot in my room. They literally have that at SUNT. I don't know how to say that. Upstate New York, where I went. Well, they should. Also, Alex Jones posted headlines from the 9th talking about the assassination. Tyler, thoughts on armed teachers. I would be fine with it, V, but they would need like really, really strict checkups. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of teachers that I've had in my life that I would not be comfortable with them having a gun. Even if it was there to defend me, no. There's some teachers that shouldn't have guns. So, I don't know the process that should be done for that. But there are definitely some teachers that should be okay with having that, yeah. The article on the 9th could just be an article that got edited. That's what I would assume, because I saw that as well. Alex Jones citing an article from the 9th talking about the assassination. Yeah, it could just be an edited article. Put it in the Wayback Machine. Get back to me on that. Put it in the Wayback Machine, see if they edited it. They should be in active shooting classes to be allowed to carry in school. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'd be fine with that. We'll start doing active shooting classes. Absolutely. Oh, you guys destroyed my like goal again. Hang on. Guys, we have 70 people in here? 70 people? That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. And no Rumble rants? I'm not doing any ads today. I do not feel comfortable doing an ad today, considering the circumstances. I would feel really weird doing an ad, considering everything we're talking about today. Anyway, we're going to move to this next story. Give everyone a gun. Let the cards fall where they fall. Debatable. Anyway. Guys, Congress is 3 weeks from shutdown and miles from a spending deal. Why is this the news? Why is this the news every like week? Like I'm just gonna sit back and talk to you guys. Why is this the news every week? It seems like every other month we're talking about how the government's gonna shut down because they don't have a spending deal in place. And I'm just wondering, you gotta have at least one. Thank you, Chris.
Where's my money, bitch?
Thank you. $1 Rumble rant from Chris. Gotta have at least one Rumble rant for the episode. Come on, guys. I'm here doing the news for you. Rant. All I've been doing is rant. Here's my Rumble rant, guys. I've just been doing it the whole episode. But why is this a story every other week? Republicans are in power, and they're not using that power to get these things done. Like, yes, I know Democrats are hindering these people, but come on, man. Start forcing these people to show up in D.C., show up to their goddamn job, and make them do the goddamn work. But they won't do that. They won't do that. And then they'll let them sit around and do nothing instead of doing recess appointments and stuff like we should.
Where's my money, bitch?
Oh, thanks, Guido. Guido sent a $1 Rumble rant. He said, thanks for talking about the kids, too. Yeah, I gotta do that. They need to stop being little bitches. Exactly. Like Chris said in the chat. Guys, go follow the Quiet Part Pod. He's in the chat. Just like Chris said, they need to stop being little bitches, especially with these appointments that they're trying to get through for Donald Trump, and they're just not coming forward with a vote on it. Okay, screw it. Mike Johnson or whoever it is just needs to go to recess. Just needs to automatically do a recess, and then Donald Trump could do recess appointments. But they won't even do that. They won't call them back to D.C. to hold an emergency vote. They won't send them to recess so that Donald Trump can push through things. They're just the party of, slow down, Democrats. Slow down. We can't do that. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Especially in the wake of this Charlie Kirk stuff. Republicans need to have their feet held to the goddamn fire. We've been saying ever since Donald Trump was... Oh, thank you, G-Nels. I got Tree Fitty on it. Thank you. That's Tree Fitty from G-Nails. Thank you, G-Nails. But we've been saying ever since Donald Trump was getting ready to be, in office, he was coming into the office, we said he has 1 year, 2 at most, maybe a year and a half. No more than 2 years, no less than a year.
Where's my money, bitch?
Thank you, Conquered Hades. Did you hear about the private jet flight that took off a half hour? Okay, they already looked into it. That's an irrelevant story, Hades. They already looked into it. It's like I said earlier. Let's not share misinformation unless we can corroborate it, and that's already been proven to be a nothing story. Anyway, we said that there would be a year and a half, maybe 2 years to get these things done, and these Republicans aren't doing their goddamn job. And when midterms come around, midterms are not guaranteed to the Republicans. And please, I implore all of you, do not let the Republicans lose the midterms. If the Republicans lose the midterms, I can only imagine where we go. We cannot allow the Republicans to lose the midterms. We have to get out and vote. You have to get out and vote. You have to get out and convince people to vote the right way, and you need to get out and vote yourself. Because if we lose these midterms, it'll be even worse than what we're seeing now. If you think there's no action being taken now, just imagine what'll happen if the Democrats take back over the House or the Senate. We cannot allow it to happen. We need more Republicans in there. We need more people there overshadowing the Democrats. It's just ridiculous. I don't even need to read the article. We already know what's happening here. They're not coming to the floor and agreeing on a bill, just like they always do. And what'll happen in 3 weeks is either we'll get a government shutdown, or if we don't get a government shutdown, we'll just get another massive omnibus kicking that can down the road. That's what it'll be. It'll be another massive omnibus. Because, oh no, we waited too long again, guys. We waited too long. Got to sign the big omnibus now. That's what they always do. That's what they always do. And it's not Donald Trump's fault necessarily, though he could be doing more to push his party to get this shit done. But we're just going to end up with another omnibus. We're going to end up with another omnibus, and it fucking sucks. My day is over, gentlemen. Have a wonderful day. Remember to love those around you. Find a good circle of local friends you can hang out with. Absolutely. I'd almost want some of the current Republicans to lose, though. Think Lindsey Graham. Yeah, but I would still prefer Lindsey Graham over most Democrats. As much of a human garbage as that person is, I would still prefer him over a Democrat. Run campaign ads showing the Dems laughing and blaming Kirk for his death. Easy win. Absolutely right, Guido. You want to win the midterms? Just show. Because I bet you half of these people in Congress we saw the video. They wouldn't even have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. Find the statements of all of these politicians, and as soon as they're up for re-election, non-stop ads of their comments. Non-stop ads of their rhetoric and how they are spreading the violence in this country. That's how you do it. That's how you win. We're going to move on to this next story, guys. I want to talk about... I do have this story. I'll bring it up tomorrow, but I'll just read the headline for you guys, because this is kind of funny. Ex-Biden staffers blast Harris for claims in memoir. So I guess there's people that used to work with Biden and Harris, and now they're coming out talking crap about her because she wrote a book saying that basically it was Biden's fault and the Democrats' party fault for her not winning. Hilarious. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. It's whatever. I more so wanted to talk about Dr. Fauci. Of course, I wanted to talk about Dr. Fauci. What are you guys saying in the chat? Slash it. Can we get a Ron Swanson slash it emote, Tyler? Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good idea. What I should do is actually, let's do emote. Guys, I have... Is it this one? Yeah. Guys, I have this site, right? Please. I implore all of you, go and find me emotes. That link down in the chat, you can download emotes. Please find emotes and send them to me. Do not send ones that are not square. It won't work. It has to be perfect square or it won't work. Okay? Please and thank you. Anyway, There's that link in the chat. You guys could check that out. Why would we talk about Dr. Fuckhead? Well, because Dr. Fuckhead has new things to talk about. We've got multiple stories. He's still fucking dog's heads, Noski. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Well, he's not in the position anymore, but the things that he put in place are still happening. So that's why it's news. We have this one. This is from yesterday. So Dr. Fauci directed colleagues to destroy federal records, then denied it under oath. Why is this a story? Well, it's being confirmed. What we already knew is now being confirmed. Senator Rand Paul, a Republican of Kentucky, released emails revealing Dr. Fauci directed colleagues to delete emails and records despite denying he did so under oath. Quote, newly released emails show Fauci directed colleagues to delete quote, newly released emails show Fauci directed colleagues to, quote, again, quote, delete this after you read it, unquote, dating back to September 20th, September, oh God, I can't read today. Anyway, Senator Rand Paul said he denied it under oath. These documents are now public, and Fauci will testify before Chairman Rand Paul. So, did he get pardoned for this? Like, because he was retroactively pardoned, right? He lied under oath in 2020. Does this get included under his pardon now? Well, I wonder. Fauci instructed his colleagues at the NIH to delete his email addressing the soaring death rate in New York City. Call me, quote, full of shit, unquote. Spin the numbers and order your staff to, quote, delete this after you read it, unquote. And then here's a tweet from Senator Rand Paul. Let's move it over here. Freshly released emails expose another layoff of the Fauci COVID cover-up. Oh, sorry, layer. I can't read today. In April 2020, his staff flagged my post on New York City's soaring death rate. Fauci's reply, call me full of shit, spin the numbers, and order your staff to delete this after you read it. He knew the reckoning was eventually coming. So what's this email? He has this email from Anthony Fauci, NIH, NIAID, and he said here, so he's emailing Greg. So Greg, as usual, he's full of ish. Mark Meadows curiously had the same response and was upset when I said that New York got things right by finally getting the numbers down and successfully began opening up. I will paste in a note I sent to Mark. Quote, I am sorry, Mark. I do not think you are missing anything, and I understand what you are saying, but I guess we are just looking at this from different perspectives. New York certainly made mistakes, but we learned a lot from the difficult experiences that they went through that hopefully benefited cities and states that subsequently got hit. I am just talking about the fact that they got the numbers down, and now they seem to be opening safely and successfully. Also, please forgive me because I am not trying to be contrary, but let us look at the numbers. The New York metropolitan area has a population of 20.3 million with 32,000 deaths. The death rate of the population level is 0.0016. Miami-Dade County is a population of 2,700,000 with 5,000 deaths. The death rate at the population is 0.0018, and they are not out of it yet. And so, in a population level, Florida may ultimately turn out to be too different from New York. I do not want to engage anymore with this nonsense, and so please delete this email after you read it. Thanks. Wow. So that's crazy. And what is Senator Rand Paul here? Paging Dr. Fauci, according to JHU, New York's per capita death rate is more than 2 times greater than Italy, Spain, and Britain, and more than 8 times worse than Florida and 10 times worse than Texas. For you to say New York got it done correctly disregards the facts and calls your judgment into question. So what this email says here is Dr. Fauci is acknowledging that not only was the death rate really low, but it was low in Florida and it was low in New York. Even though both of them had different approaches to the situation, they ended up with about the same death rate. Crazy how that works. Can we safely say the vaccine did fucking nothing then? That's what I'm getting from this, is the vaccine literally didn't make a difference. Then again, Florida is a retirement state. Maybe a lot of them got vaccinated. The cover-up began while the virus was barely on America's radar. Just one day after the February 1st, 2020 proximal origins call, Fauci, Francis Collins, and Jeremy Farrar plotted to how to get ahead of science and the narrative under the World Health Organization. And then it, quote, says, please delete after you read it. So Dr. Fauci was actively trying to cover this stuff up. He's repeatedly lied under oath to congressional investigators about COVID and the gain-of-function research in the Wuhan lab. Dr. Fauci was under oath when speaking with Senator Rand Paul in 2021 when he denied that the NIH funded the gain-of-function research in Wuhan. Well, we did, and he authorized it, and he was doing all sorts of other things that he shouldn't have been doing. For example, let's move over here. I'm not going to read your guys' chats because I'm assuming you're talking crap about me not being able to read. NIH renews. Guys, this is from April 2025. The end of April. The NIH renews massive funding for Fauci's infamously cruel Monkey Island. Monkey Island is such a pleasant way to put what is dubbed maximum pain experiments. Torturing these poor animals in the name of science. And we fund it. The money the government takes from you every time you go buy something, every time you work, every time you do anything, every time you make a transaction in this country, that little bit of money they take, some of it could be going to this. Our money is going towards the death and torture of animals. For what? For what? The National Institutes of Health just renewed the funding for Dr. Anthony Fauci's infamously cruel Monkey Island. I refuse to call it Monkey Island. Infamously cruel maximum pain experiments on Monkey Island off the coast of South Carolina. The Trump administration has been working to clean up Joe Biden and Fauci's wasteful spending and funding of barbaric and outdated animal testing, but it seems that holdovers from the previous administration have other plans. According to the transaction history, the NIH will potentially award Alpha Genesis a total of $26.9 million of taxpayer funds to maintain the island. Managing the island has cost Americans more than $66 million to date. Nearly $70 million to torture monkeys. Johnny Hurst, getting monkeys hooked on drugs in America was clearly too boring, so the NIH went ape abroad. It paid Chinese labs to conduct experimental drug tests on monkeys. Finally, we get to Dr. Fauci's funky Monkey Island. Since 1979, Dr. Fauci's NIH division has maintained an island that currently houses, today, this is in 2020, the end of 2024, as of 2024, the end of 2024, over 3,000, almost 3,400 monkeys for use in taxpayer-funded experiments. Managing the island has just cost more than $66 million to date, adjusted for inflation. In 2021, White Coat Waste, a watchdog organization working to end cruel and unnecessary taxpayer-funded animal experimentation, exposed how Monkey Island confines over 3,300 primates who are bred and then shipped to labs for deadly and horrific maximum pain research. That's what it's actually called. That's what they should call it in the article. That's what everyone should refer to it as. Because that's what the NIH themselves refer to. When the NIH refers to this project, they do not refer to it as Monkey Island. They refer to it as the maximum pain experiments, where they clip the ends of fingers and toes off of monkeys. They freeze body parts. They inject them with all sorts of different viruses and vaccines for testing to see what happens and to see how long they'll live after. Torture. Pure, utter torture, and the sick, demonic people at the hands of this should be arrested. I don't care if our government sanctioned it. We didn't care when we put those Nazis on trial. We shouldn't care now. Just following orders isn't a good enough excuse for something so fucking sick and demented as this. In a statement about the funding, WCW President Anthony Bellotti told Gateway Pundit, quote, as the watchdog that first exposed Fauci's funding at the Wuhan lab, beagle abuse, Monkey Island, and transgendered animal experiments, yeah, that's another one, That's another one.
Where's my money, bitch?
Thank you, Chris. Send another dollar rumble rant. That's awesome. We're breeding and shipping them in, so much better that way. I nominate F-Head and his staff for residency on that island. Yeah, it's so much better because we're shipping them from out of the country, right? Well, we'll get there, Chris, because not all the experimented animals come from out of the country. We some of them we breed here at home to then torture. But yeah, transgender animal experiments as well as the beagle abuse. If you don't know about that, we're going to get to that in just a moment. We're alarmed that NIH just renewed millions more from the Biden-Fauci era animal abuse. President Trump's message is crystal clear. Cut NIH wasteful spending. But Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and the NIH staff either didn't get Trump's memo or they're just ignoring it. Instead, Biden-Fauci holdovers at the NIH are planning to open a new big government department in the Beltway. They're renewing Fauci payments to animal labs where beagles are eaten alive by insects. And they're promoting Fauci's top lieutenants who champion gain of function. Just yesterday, they unveiled a foolish spending policy on alternatives that indistinguishable from that of the Biden-Fauci NIH, one that won't hold Fauci accountable or save any animals in the labs. NIH's bureaucrats are undermining President Trump. More bureaucracy won't save beagles, and it won't make America greater for animals. The solution is simple. Stop the money. Stop the madness. An estimated 500 to 600 monkeys are taken from the island each year and sent to NIH and other government labs where they're infected with viruses, mutilated, and killed. The Post and the Courier reported this week, quote, about 500 primates, each bearing a numeric chest tattoo, are trapped every year, ferried to the mainland, and trucked to federal laboratories. There, they may be sacrificed to develop vaccines, pharmaceuticals, and medical devices. They've been called a vital part of national security, and the federal government pays about $4 million a year to keep an ample supply. The monkey colony stayed over the objections of federal officials and conservationists. It became, in the words of one top former state official, a performing asset that generated lease money used to fund other programs and salaries. A 2018 NIAID paper described the development of the deadly Crimea Congo hemorrhage fever in monkeys taken from the island in very graphic detail. White Coat Waste provided Gateway Pundit with a photo of one of the monkeys that was infected with the virus. They purposefully infected the monkey with this virus to see how they may be able to treat it or just to see what happens. The agency used 15 rhesus and African green monkeys for the pilot study. In the main study, they used a dozen macaque monkeys who were injected with the painful virus and killed on the 7th day of the test. The primates from the island have also been used for testing related to AIDS, polio, even bioterrorism. Only researchers and officials are allowed on the secretive island, which sits at, and then it gives the coordinates. I wasn't expecting them to give coordinates of the island. Jeez, okay, Gateway Pundit. The public is banned from entering, however. Let's see. WCW also obtained video through a FOIA lawsuit against the NIH, revealing how the Rocky Mountain Lab in Montana tortures monkeys it receives from the island in Ebola and COVID experiments. This is torture, guys. What are we gaining from this? What do we have to gain from these experiments? The NIH is paying $22.8 million in taxpayer funds to Alpha Genesis, the company with the NIAID contract to manage the island. This is the same company that let 43 monkeys escape from its South Carolina lab last year. Yeah, I hope they don't find those monkeys. But we're going to move on to this other story, because like Chris was talking about, hey guys, a notorious beagle breeder that supplies the Fauci-funded labs was hit with over 300 violations. a notorious Wisconsin beagle breeder at the center of taxpayer-funded puppy mill horrors, has been exposed and slammed with more than 300 violations, drawing a potential $55,000 fine as investigations continue. $55,000 is not enough for the torture they're putting these puppies through. For those of you that don't know, this is a separate experiment that the NIH conducts in which they allow flesh-eating insects to eat the heads of beagle puppies. For what reason? I don't know. Frankly, I don't give a fuck. You could be looking for a cure for cancer. I don't give a shit. That's demonic. This troubling development comes amid growing scrutiny of how this breeder supplies dogs to the government-supported research labs, including those funded by Dr. Anthony Fauci. According to a report by WMTV, Wrigley's Farms facility was cited by the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection for a staggering 308 infractions related to the mistreating dogs and performing unauthorized surgeries without anesthesia. Performing surgeries on puppies and dogs without anesthesia, leading to a hefty penalty as authorities moved to crack down on the horrifying conditions over which 3,000 dogs were housed in filthy wire cages. The White Coat Waste Project, a watchdog group, has uncovered that the breeder is supplying beagles to labs conducting painful experiments funded by the National Institute of Health, including ongoing tests initiated by Dr. Fauci. Quote, they're born to die. White Coat Waste Project obtained records showing a beagle breeder accused of criminal cruelty that sold puppies to Fauci-funded labs, then infested them with ticks and poisoned them with experimental drugs. In some of the painful tests, dogs were denied any relief. According to documents by the White Coat Waste Project through state and federal open records request, beagle puppies from Wrigley are currently being used in painful tick bite experiments at the University of Missouri, in which their pain and suffering is intentionally left untreated. The Gateway Pundit reported about the recent renewal of the lab's NIH funding. Additionally, dogs from Ridglan, how the fuck you say it, have been infected with viruses and injected with the experimental drugs and experiments backed by other U.S. federal agencies, including the National Science Foundation and the Department of Agriculture. Currently, a special prosecutor in Wisconsin is determining whether to charge Wrigley with violations of the state's animal cruelty laws. Why does there even need to be a discussion? Does there need to be a discussion about that? Regardless of what these people are doing to the puppies while they're in their care, they should be sued and charged for violations of animal cruelty for the fact that they've been selling them to the government for torture. In a statement to the Gateway Pundit, White Coat Waste Senior Vice President Justin Goodman said taxpayers shouldn't be forced to fund puppy profiteers that abuse beagles and break the law. We're working with Congress to ensure not another dime is wasted on cruel and outdated experiments on dogs or spent to subsidize these despicable breeding operations. Guys, I mean, you cannot hate our government enough. You cannot hate Dr. Fauci himself enough. Dr. Fauci alone is responsible for so many demonic and disgusting things in this country. Do we want the world to see this? Do we want the world to know that we torture beagle puppies? Do we want the world to know that we will put monkeys through unimaginable pain for our own research? Sure, these other countries do things far worse than us, but we need to be the example. We should be the example for the world to follow. We should not allow these things to happen. There needs to be a discussion on which prison to send them to for testing on them. Absolutely. That's the only discussion that should ensue. Yeah, I'm with Bach on this one. Dox the puppy mills, please. Well, you don't have to. They've already named it. Here, if you want to know the name of the facility where these puppies are brought from, it's Wrigley Farms. Wrigley Farms is responsible for these beagle puppies being tortured, having surgery without anesthesia, being injected with all sorts of different things that should never be in their bodies. And then let's say none of that happens to them, and they're one of the lucky ones that don't get tortured by the puppy mill they were born in. They're then sent off to be eaten alive or have ticks and other things happen to them by the government. Disgusting. Disgusting, disgusting. That shouldn't be a question because they should be I mean, yeah, even though it's animals, like I said, the Nazis didn't get any leeway. It is not good enough to just say that you were just following your job. It is not good enough to just say you were following orders. If you were there on the other side of the needle while you're injecting it into that innocent puppy, there's no excuse for you. There's no excuse. You could have just denied the job. You didn't have to work that job. You didn't have someone with a gun to your head saying, inject the puppy or you die. Disgusting. We already read that one. Let's see. I think this is a similar story. Okay, yeah, this is similar. Okay, yeah, we already went over this. I had another article. It's just going over the Monkey Island stuff being funded yet again. It looks like, okay, wait, no, this is a different one. House Appropriations Committee targets Fauci's taxpayer-funded Monkey Island and the FY26 NIH spending bill. The move comes after years of investigations by the White Coat Waste Project. Guys, I don't know who they are, but they seems like they're the one getting all this information out, so good on them. The coverage by the Gateway Pundit, which has exposed the secretive South Carolina primate colony as a multi-million-dollar industry involving horrific experiments on thousands of monkeys. I hope they get the funding pulled, and I hope all of these sick fucks spend the rest of their lives in prison, if not publicly executed. I advocate for capital punishment for those that are irredeemable. I do not advocate for violence. I do not advocate for murder. I advocate for the removal of people that cannot remain in polite society. That's what I advocate for. That's not being violent. I advocate for the removal of those that are violent. We're going to move on. Guys, we're getting to the end of the show here. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate every single one of you. R. Sergeant, thank you with the $2 Rumble Rant. What exactly do we learn from watching flesh-eating parasites eating an animal's face? What we learn is that evil exists. That's what you learn, R. Sergeant. You learn that evil exists in this world. White Coast Waste is a good organization, is what Bush said. Well, F. Wisconsin, that's close. Yep. All right, guys. I do want to end it on a non-political story. I wanna lighten the mood a little bit. We're gonna end it with this, guys. I love stories about bears. Bears are my favorite animal. Absolutely love bears. We're gonna end with this last story today, guys. Alaskan brown bears to duke it out for the fattest bear title in the 11th annual National Park Competition. Hell yeah, guys. Fat bears. Who doesn't love a big fat bear? Huh? I love me some fat bears. Alaskan bears will duke it out for the title of the bulkiest bear around later this month when Fat Bear Week kicks off in the state's Katmai National Park on the 11th year in a row. I probably butchered that name, but I don't care. The National Park Services competition searches for the chunkiest, chubbiest bruin, and it will take place from September 23rd to September 30th as the beasts stock up and stack up the pounds ahead of hibernation. The show, which live streams the dozen Alaskan brown bears vying for the title, doesn't actually offer a prize to the winning animal. Many avid fans, though, sometimes bet on the winner. Yeah, I remember last year they had, I think they have one bear in particular that has won 3 years in a row. He's just always the chunkiest. I wonder if he's going to win this time again. The showdown is entirely in the hands of people voting online, with windows open all week from noon to 9 p.m. Quote, from tubby titans to gargantuan gluttons, get ready to cheer on the heftiest bears at Katmai National Park and preserves Brooks River. Park officials wrote in a post on social media, look at this big boy right here. Oh, man. Look at that big boy stocking up for winter. The participating bears have already started packing on the pounds for hibernation in November. During this period, Alaskan brown bears can reach up to 1,200 pounds. Oh, my God. Adding around 4 pounds a day. Man, I just love bears. Bears are amazing. However, scientists can only make a rough estimate about the competitor's weight since the entire contest is done observedly without interaction with the bear's diets or environments. Yeah, it's hard to weigh a bear. And, you know, without... there's just too much risk involved having to, like, physically weigh them, so they watch them from afar and they take guesstimates based on their sizing. I'm sorry, this is just too much to bear. It's quite unbearable, but I assure you, I have the qualifications to tell you guys this story, okay? I know there's going to be absolute pandemonium in the chat, but you guys will need to bear with me for a moment. 8 cameras are set up in their habitat, including at the falls, with an underwater salmon camera to keep an eye out for fresh meals. Many of the bears gather at the park's Brooks River, which is teeming with sockeye salmon through the end of October. Fat Bear Week was started by Mike Fitz, a retired ranger at the sprawling park in 2014. It was originally held for just 1 day, but quickly grew to a week and even spawned a cub-oriented spin-off. Look at this big mofo right here. Ooh. That's a chunky one right there. I like the colors on this one. Colors on this one's nice. Big old bear right there. The 2024 brackets announcements was delayed after a fatal fight broke out between a planned participant and another bear. Wow. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate when two bears, bear on bear violence, man. It's a real danger. Last year's Fat Bear Week winner was Grazer128, who was also caring for a cub at the time. The hulking bear trounced 32 chunk. The cub competition, Fat Bear Jr., will be held on September 18th to the 19th. Well, there you go, guys. Be sure to tune in for Fat Bear Jr. and Fat Bear Week. What happened here with this fatal fight that broke out, though? I want to know about this. Fat Bear Week delayed after rival bear death match? What started the fight? He couldn't bear the competition, guys. Fat Bear Week has returned. Let's see. Is this them fighting out in the water? Man. A male bear with the identification number 469 and referred to as Patches killed a female bear, identification number 402, by the Brooks River in Katmai National Park and Preserve, Alaska. A male bear killed a female bear. National parks like Katmai protect not only the wonders of nature, but also the harsh realities. Each bear seen on the webcams is competing with others to survive. Earlier today, a bear killed another bear in the river. It was caught live on webcams, and we thought, well, we can't go ahead with our Fat Bear Week bracket reveal without addressing the situation first. Mike Fitz, the resident naturalist at explore.org, said Monday live stream held in place on the scheduled unveiling per CBS. The Brooks River is a protected area in the Alaskan Peninsula that brings in some of the region's largest bears as they hunt for sockeye salmon. So basically, the fight probably broke out over salmon, huh? I don't know why a bear would want to expend so much energy trying to kill another bear as a food source. It's an uncommon thing to see a bear predating on another bear, but it's not completely out of question, so it's hard to say how it started. We do know this at the time of year. Bears are in the state of hyperphagia, and they are eating anything and everything they can. Yeah, this is a dangerous time to be encountering bears for sure. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that face. Oh, that's adorable. I wish bears weren't so goddamn dangerous. They're so cute. While Fitz and Bruce said it wasn't clear what started the altercation, ultimately they believe 469 ended up seeing bear 402 as potential prey. So just a smaller bear. He's trying to get some food. As you can see here, here's some smaller bears. You always got to compete with the biggest bear. That's just how it goes. But yeah, guys, tune in for Fat Bear Week. I will update who wins the Fat Bear Week. I will update who wins. Anyway. I want to end today's episode with my song that I made. I think it will resonate with a lot of you, especially following yesterday. I did not make this yesterday. I made this about a week ago. But I think following the events recently, the message of my song rings more true than ever. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'll leave you with my song, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
never fair, but they made sure to be there to show how much they don't care. Where's the line? Nothing here is fine. I can hardly make a dime while people get away with crime. Work harder while you try your hardest, get stronger while they cripple you. Pull yourself up while they hold you down. Life was never fair, but they made sure to be there to show how much they don't care. Kick you while you're down. Make sure no one else is around. Don't stand up. We can't have disobedience. You'll need to follow their command. Where's the line? Nothing here is fine. I can hardly make a dime while people get away with crime. It won't be long now, the time grows near. It's something we've all feared. Now's the time before they steal every last dime. Work harder.
The suit sit high while the streets sink low.
Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. That song can be found YouTube, Rumble, anywhere. Feel free to do anything you want with it. It is royalty free. I wrote the lyrics. Do as you please with it. Have a great day.